Probably.
Were you, or were you not, on a gay cruise?
No, you're 120% dick pic.
Everybody that age, they're sperminator.
Yeah.
We don't care about anything else. We're a walking hard on looking for a hole.
That's. I have to say you're right on that one. Oh my God.
A stiff breeze comes through the room and you return the favor.
Gonorrhea. No. Somewhere on the outside of this building, there is a hole where squirrels come in.
Better than a hole where dicks come in.
Yeah, better than that.
Going down the stairs to wash the laundry. What the hell? Shh. Pizza. Stop! Stop it now! I order you to stop! I'm still touching myself.
Yeah!
All young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck dick, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they pussy in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
I think washing they pussy in the sink is my favorite part. The Vietnamese trade in dongs. Figuratively and literally, I'm sure.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I did decide to look it up. 500,000 dongs is a good night for Pop's ex.
Like most women, he's an emotional thinker.
Good God.
I mean, that's part of the problem we're having now in our society is we have a bunch of emotional thinkers that want the world to, to fall in line with their emotions. It's not. Look, reality doesn't give a shit about emotions.
It's my lived truth. Fuck your lived truth.
No, it's not. It's your perspective.
Kiss my ass.
Literally like, hey, Sergeant Pop, you got to turn your bear suit. I'm like, over my dead body. No. Just give me a statement of charges. Yeah. You're never getting this back. Yeah. You can suck it.
I'm going to wear this with my Russian coat.
you will bury me in this. Hey! Why you gotta fucking be like that, man?
Because I'm an asshole, and I learned from the best. I'm sitting across from him, and I'm pointing at you with all four fingers.
All right, first of all, the Russian jacket is World War II surplus.
I'll send you a picture of it, Sarge.
Yeah, okay.
I got you standing wearing it with holding two giant buckets like you just collected all the chum from behind the dump dumpster at the bar and you're going to go home and make ice cream out of it.
What's up, savages? Terrence Pop here with another episode that actually is live from the lair, or let's just call it Grunt Speak because that's the name of the show. All right, now today we're going to dive into something that's a little bit different. All right, since 9/11, we have had a myriad of 501c and nonprofits come onto the scene. Wounded Warrior, and the list goes on and on. Some of these organizations, enjoy 10, 20, 50 million plus budgets. And do they really keep track of the good that they do? Or I know that they're required to disclose, what portion of their budget was spent on certain stuff. And the reason we're doing this is simply, I'm going to just be honest. I've been trying to get this nonprofit that we are working under, Second Class Citizen, on corporate, donation lists. And I have got nowhere. Just a bunch of fuck all. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that we're going directly against communism with tits, or that I am too crass and too blunt, too truthful in the way I deliver stuff. But since 2009, we've been operating with less than a shoestring budget. Basically, I finance this entire thing out of my own pocket up until roughly 2014 and 13-ish, when we actually, started breaking out and hitting our stride before the adpocalypse, where we got demonetized by YouBoob and what have you. In 2001, we were debanked by PayPal. I know they're technically not a bank, but if they're enjoying FDIC insurance indirectly by working with other banks, then they should be considered a bank. And it has wreaked havoc in regards to what I can and cannot do with this particular show, and the ability to help my fellow veterans and other men out there dealing with the loneliness and hopelessness that the Western world is today. In fact, during this journey, I came up with the statistics through my own studies that roughly 65 to 70% of all of the veteran and male suicides that take place out there usually happen after a failed relationship, divorce, or a contact with the family court. Now, how did I come up with these numbers? I worked basically on active duty from roughly 2008 to 2018, about 11 years-ish. And I was in the know when a veteran or a service member would commit, suicide. And then I would just simply seek their name, do a search, sometimes on AKO and some of the military sites. They would actually have write-ups and obituaries for a lot of these guys. And I would simply just copy the text onto a Word document, and then I would just do a find and replace, and I would look for certain words: divorce, estrangement, any kind of mention of stepchildren. Okay, those three were. There's two other words that are escaping my mind from right now, but those words or those phrases popped up in roughly 70% of all of the find and replace searches that I did. Now, I did Purple Heart's Final Beat, and that came out in 2009, and it went all the way up to the Pentagon. And then they sent me a bunch of Leave It to Beaver statistics stating I was absolutely incorrect, and I didn't know what I was talking about, despite the fact that I actually deployed to Iraq in 2004. And roughly 70 to 90% of those guys were divorced within returning from Iraq in 5 years or less. Those are my observations, my particular studies. And if we had a country that wasn't being run by a bunch of communists with tits, they would actually throw some funding to do legitimate studies and come up with the actual numbers. And when somebody does something like that, the numbers are pretty much irrefutable. You can't really dispute them. Whereas in my case, since I'm one guy dealing with a very small sample size, I could be basically ignored, which they pretty much have done. Now, since roughly 2009, I've kept account of 561 individuals saved from suicide. And a large percentage of these guys, I would say somewhere between 20 and 40% of them are veterans. The rest of them are just normal dudes that are literally getting their lives crushed by circumstances in the Western world. And they're basically isolated, alone, lonely, hopeless, and helpless. And they just simply are looking for answers. They did some searches on YouTube or on Google or on the internet, and my videos come up because I've been doing it for so long. And up until roughly the number 220-ish, plus or minus 10, I really didn't keep a meticulous count, and that's 100% on me. And it wasn't until I was talking with a counselor who was a Catholic church deacon, and he was basically, talking about what he would do as a counselor, and he credited himself as saving 20-ish people from suicide, self-deletion, self-harm, whatever you want to call it. And I brought up my numbers, which dwarfed his by a factor of 10 or 11. And he said, you got something here, Pop. You're on to something. You should pursue this, because maybe, despite the fact that you're a wretched, swearing bastard, that the universe might have a bigger plan for you. And that's when I started keeping more accurate count. And it got to the point where we started reading all of the emails and such on the air, because there will come a time when people are accusing me of lying and over embellishing and what have you, despite the fact that Battledorf, who's on station, has been here pretty much since the beginning. And this is before we even had Redonkulas running. I would get, somebody would email us and say, hey, that video, Purple Heart's Final Beat, it's keeping my feet planted on the earth until my natural dying day. And I would send the emails to him, and I would, give numbers and what have you. And right around 60 is when I started actually issuing numbers to people when they would tell me this. I've had I'm trying to remember, 12, 14 guys actually track me down on post at Fort Drum, Fort Lewis, let's see, was it Irwin down in Florida, Fort Bragg, and literally shake my hand and look me in the face and tell me, hey, man, your video saved my ass. It kept me from doing some stupid shit, and I'm still here because of you. I had one guy actually drive across country and hand deliver his dog tags to me and a couple of gallons of fine homemade beer, which I can't say no to. And that's where we are today. Now, with this show, we're going to be reviewing some of these other nonprofits and some of their mission statements. We're going to talk about what they do or don't do, just to give you guys some clarity on the mission of Redonkulas.com and what we're trying to do here. All right, so Battledorf. We also got Jimmy on station. And I want to apologize if I make a bunch of sniffling sounds. I'm not actually weak. It is officially spring here in Michigan, and
weak little bitch.
The pollen is causing my hay fever to go a little crazy.
We're in the same place. You'll note I am not sniffling and wheezing.
You're a dwarf. You have higher constitution.
Dwarves do. We have +2 to Constitution score. What do you want? Yeah. Anyway, with all of what Pop said is true. I pretty much showed up, I guess, about a year after you started it all, because you were just trying to get the LLC together, the 501c3. Yeah. And you and I actually got a radio show together for a little while out of Hawaii, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was out of Hawaii.
Eglin, by the way, in Florida, not Irwin. At any rate, yeah, we did that for quite a while. We actually got a hold of Aaron Pizzi, who was the creator of the British feminist movement. She agreed to interview us on the radio, or interview with us on the radio. And she told us that all she really wanted was the right to work if she wanted to, which you could not do as a woman in England in the late 50s. And she said that the militant lesbians immediately took over the entire movement and destroyed the whole thing. And she had never had any intention of it ever being that. So those militant lesbians were waiting in the wings. The same thing happened here in the United States. We watched that happen. But to the point of what we do, saving guys' lives, most of the reactions that I've seen that are negative is that, oh, you're too crass. Oh, nobody likes that language. Hey, I have bad news for you. Okay, we're old grunts. We don't give a fuck. And the guys that we're trying to get to, they don't give a fuck either. I hate to be overly blunt. I would care about your feelings, but my bucket of fucks over here in the corner, it's empty. I've got nothing for you there. And we're specifically reaching out to the guys who need to hear these kind of things, that want to hear these kind of things. They want to hear them this way. They don't want to be coddled. They don't want to be touched gently while you wipe their butt with a Kleenex or whatever. That's, none of the guys in our community want that. So that pop has managed to save 561 lives to this point that we know of, says that what we're doing works. So we're not going to stop doing it. Now, it's time for me to bring up some data, because this was part of what started this. We had a friend, Hip, she's down in Illinois, and she's a freaking former tank mechanic, but she came across a bunch of data and sent it to us, and that's what actually got us talking to her. She's operator 11 in the organization, if I'm not mistaken. I got a pile of raw data, thousands of entries, and I started doing that thing that I do with data because I'm a former intelligence analyst, and I went through the whole thing and started generating lists and relationships and everything. And this is the suicide lists for around 2011 to 2014, somewhere in that time bracket, rather. You can see that
she worked in what
St. Louis.
Yeah, but she was a casualty notification,
right? Something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she was like in the know.
Yeah. This is all the raw data. Obviously, I'm not going to show you any names or anything sensitive. That's not what we're here to do. We want to show you the numbers. Family relationships, 35% of them. There were 35 and no family relationships, 69%. 29% of the suicides there. Deployed, 30%. I'd have to go back over all of this, but here's the one that really hit us between the eyes, because it's the E4 to E6 bracket. And Pop and I know what this means. You're just getting some rank. You're just getting a little money in your pocket. You just went out the gate at Fayetteville and you found her, and she's different, and
at
she
Peepers.
loves you. And what?
At Peepers.
Yeah, at Peepers. And this is the point where you're a young male between the age of about 21 to 25 in there, and that family thing is starting to kick in. And that's where the most suicides are, in that E4 to E6 bracket amongst the military people. Now, there is even a place where most of these suicides happen. These are all of our unique IDs for all of the bases. Fort Hood was number 1 on the list. This is just a list of all the different ones here. Let's go to the breakdown, suicides by rank. You can see what we have highlighted there. There's the big ones. The places with the most suicides were Texas and Iraq. Iraq is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, the result of Dear John's.
Yeah, I would say that's probably what, either Dear John's or divorces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We didn't see very many of those over in Korea, interestingly, and that's fine. Suicides, males versus females. And remember, this is exclusively active duty personnel, this data that we went through. Males, 93%, females, 7%. Average age of the suicide, 27 years old. Family involved. With a male, it was 91%. With a female, it was only 9%. What does that tell you? That tells you that these guys are popping themselves over a divorce or something like that, or a Jody call.
Yeah, they're popping themselves over pussy.
Yep. Family court or divorce involved, 30% of the suicides, and with 11% undetermined. So it could theoretically be as high as 45%. Now, when you go down to months, this one is important right here. And Pop, you probably know why.
This is what, December?
Yep.
Yeah, that Christmas cheer that you're supposed to have when your family's about, and all of a sudden you don't have a family and you don't have a purpose, and that's when the darkness sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
In regards to my harsh language, I'm fucking with death here. I have literally had my thumb in the devil's eye socket and 1 foot up death's ass since roughly 2009. All right. And anyone who sits there and says, well, I don't approve of your language, you need to tone it down. Well, they did that in Vietnam, and we lost that war.
Yep.
Because if they would have kept carpet bombing the North and fucking them up 3 ways to Sunday, they probably would have capitulated. But because they wanted to play safe, it's protracted losing. I'm not playing that fucking game. I'm a goddamn warrior. And when I step onto the field, even though it's a spiritual war now, and I'm using words, and this is a war for hearts and minds, I'm not gonna pull punches and use anything less than the most lethal, devastating words that deliver the truth as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's a true story. Now let's go to the suicides by rank. And right away in the chat, somebody said, weird how few field grade officers and above happen to pop themselves. Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? Maybe because they have the resources and the support. But I'll tell you what, I'll bet you when they get divorced, it's just as ugly. The primary ranks were E4, E3, E4, and E5. You can see that there. And E6. And there was nothing for most of the warrant officer corps and very little for the officer corps. E1s and E2s, these are young guys. These are anywhere from 17 to 19, typically. I was a rarity as a 24-year-old E2 because I enlisted very late. Enlisted suicide. Okay, this is from 2009 to 2011. That's right. It's been years since I've seen this data. I just pulled this up just for this. And suicides by region, you can see Texas has the majority of them. Texas, Iraq, and Georgia are the big ones. But
this is old data.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what the data is now.
14 years old. I'd love to know what the data is now. Geographic region, enlisted by officer, suicides by month in total. Now, see all of this data that I'm throwing in front of you. You go, why are you showing me all of this data? Well, let me tell you why. Look, there's a bunch of organizations out there who do good for veterans. They do. These guys do. I'm not dissing them.
Yep.
Okay. These organizations do good for veterans. But there's a lie floating around out there that I found in my research. And that lie is that they can't get this data. They don't know how many people they've helped. They can't keep track of the whole thing. We're doing this on Pop's lack of money and my non-existent money. And we're still holding this together, and we're still doing all of this. That data that I just showed you, I just did that. Nobody handed me a nickel for that. I wasn't compensated in any way other than being able to help my fellow brothers in arms and to make sure that as few of us as possible made that bad decision.
Yeah, and all I wanted it done is just keep count and then write it down in my, my green brain book I carried with me everywhere.
Now,
And then I put the numbers on my master calendar in the beginning at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to track these
No.
numbers.
It is not that hard to track these numbers. And as far as analyzing the data goes, I did that by myself with an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. If I had access to all of the real data, I could tell you everything that's going on in that world. I could tell you everything that's going on in the veterans suicide crisis right now, if I could get to that data. They're saying that they can't do that. That's a load of crap. They don't know, either don't know what they're doing, they're not willing to do what they're doing, or somebody doesn't want that data seen. My guess is somebody doesn't want that data seen, and because it's not pretty, they don't want to face reality. One of the big things that Pop and I have been about since he started this show and he brought me in is, here's reality, dumps reality on the table in front of you. Okay, now let's fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Because I'm going to be honest, it's a fucking war out there. And men are killing themselves at breakneck speed. And no one's talking about it. Nobody even wants to bring up the numbers. Because I can guarantee you that if it ever comes out, the actual numbers, a lot of the people out there are going to have to deal with backlash and possibly some shame. Most of them probably won't, because they're basically sold out to the forces of darkness. And listen, you know you're in a fucked up situation when you have an old grunt Green Beret, saying anything about the forces of darkness. All right. I mean, I was never that guy growing up. I was always the asshole. But you get to a certain age and you're like, well, yeah, I've made it across the finish line, but there's a lot of people back there that are suffering.
Yeah.
I better go back and get some of those guys.
Yeah,
Make sure
that's
they make
exactly
it across
it.
the finish line.
That's exactly it. We don't have to be doing this, except we have to be doing this. We owe a debt of honor to our brothers who came after us. And that's what we're doing here.
Yep.
So Wounded Warrior, for example, doesn't just help with one aspect of a warrior's life. It's well-rounded, not just handing out money. They're a hand up, not a handout. Again, like I said, these organizations are good and they do good. But rarely do I see real serious outreach programs in these. They'll pick one guy who's tore up from the floor up. Okay, this guy needs help. I get it. Okay, and they'll build the one guy a house. Or they'll get you tickets to a show. Or they'll give you the phone number to the support group or something like that. What follow-up do you have with that? Let's go on to one of the other ones here. This is probably one of the better ones from what I hear. I need to do more looking into his, because I know Gary Sinise actually cares.
Actually, to be honest
I've
with
seen
you,
a lot of evidence that he gives a damn.
yes, I can say that as well. But I've actually emailed this Gary Sinise guy and his nonprofit probably a dozen times, and I've got zero response back.
There's the other thing.
Yeah.
There's the other thing. We're all brothers in arms. Case of Pop and me, past tense, we were, but it still matters. When we reach out between organizations, we should be responding to each other, even if it's to say, hey, I don't have the bandwidth, man, I'm sorry. Let's circle back to this later, or something like that. Even if it's something like that. But the idea that none of these organizations will even begin to try to talk to second-class citizen to see what's going on, or see what it's about, or see what Pop has to offer, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, because our mission is all the same. He and I just go about it in a different way. And the other guys that are on the show as well, we don't cut corners on what's really going on. We'll tell you the absolute truth about what is really happening, and why it's happening, and what we think you can do to get through it. And I've seen it work. I've seen what Pop has come up with. A lot of it's in his book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. I've seen it work in real time. We've seen it on the show a couple of times where we'll be talking and going, and Jimmy and I will have our eyes on the chat or something, and a guy will pop up like out of nowhere. Hey, I want to talk to you guys. I have a story to tell. Yep. You know, in real time, we have these things happen on the show. One of the reasons we interact with as many of you as we can, we can't respond to every email. We've talked about this before. We can't respond to every chat. Otherwise, it'd be nothing but that. But when we run across guys who need help, when we can help them, we will. We will do whatever we can.
I mean, I spend about 2 hours a day responding to emails and, comments on YouTube and Rumble.
And forwarding me emails that I already got.
Yeah, and I forward them. It's what
okay.
It is.
It's all right, man. Your thinking meat's damaged. Carry on.
And I've actually, had guys send me their number, emergency, I need to talk to you. And I literally call them and find out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, all right, just send me an email. What's going on?
Yep.
And then if it's a serious situation, I'll get on the phone and call guys.
Past couple of months, there's been a couple of guys I've talked to like that. Occasionally, I'll get one who needs help with a legal document or something like that. And if I have the bandwidth, I'm going to help you. There isn't a question of it. If I have the time, I'm going to help you. And Pop does the same stuff. Now, the difference between what we do and these organizations like the Gary Sinise or Wounded Warriors or the other ones that are out there is I don't see them following through. I don't see them checking back with members saying, hey, you all right, bro? That kind of thing. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't happen, but I don't see it.
We're not seeing it. And
yeah,
I don't even know if they actually, track any of those numbers. I would love to be able to track just the gratitude. We get a whole bunch of gratitude letters that we don't put their number on the board because they didn't actually say.
Let's do an episode of it.
Yeah.
Let's dig up a bunch of them and just do a sample. If we did that for all of them, we'd be here for a minute.
Yeah.
Honestly. And thank you guys for getting back to us and saying, hey, thanks for, walking me through this shit show.
I made
what we're here for.
I made administrative violence, divorce and custody edition, and then the Working Man Survival Guide, because average dudes are just getting crushed out there, and they don't know how to fight back, and they don't have the money to fight back. Mm-hmm. So I made the webinars so they could fight back dirty.
Yeah, and they don't even have a freaking 6-digit grid on the map to start from.
Yeah.
Let alone know how to do all of this stuff. They don't know where to begin to start fighting.
They don't even have a 4-digit grid. They don't even know what grid square they're on.
I know. They don't even know what grid square they're on. And only our guys know what the fuck we're talking about. There's a couple of civilians out there going,
what the hell's a grid square?
The fuck are they talking about now? Hey, I need a box of classified grid squares, by the way. Can you get me one of those?
Yeah, I probably can.
That's good. Probably a couple 100 yards of flight line, too. So, on a whim, part of what started this show tonight, specifically, I happened to be on TwitX. I'm not going to call it just X. It's TwitX. TwitX is its tranny name. Okay, that's its pronoun, TwitX. I just asked the Grok AI, which veterans NGO in the United States has saved the most lives? That sounds like a pretty basic question to me. I would think that these organizations would want to have a metric that says, hey, and I get that you don't know how many for sure, but I would think they would want to at least be able to say, these are the responses we've had. This is what we know. None of these organizations have this. I'm going to do this right here real quick. This is from the Grok AI. I'm going to read this one in real time a little bit here. It's tough to pin down one veterans NGO in the USA as the definitive lifesaver because no single organization has a clear, verifiable metric for lives saved across the board. Yes, we do. Many groups, Wounded Warrior Project, Gary Sinise Foundation, Disabled American Veterans, and others focus on different areas like mental health, housing, or medical support, but they don't typically quantify lives saved in a way that allows direct comparison. For example, the National Veterans Foundation claims to have helped hundreds of thousands through its hotline targeting suicide prevention, a critical issue with veteran suicide rates estimated at 20 to 25 per day. It's 20 to 46 per day.
It's 40
But
a day.
44, 22 to 44 per day. But helped doesn't equal lives saved in a provable sense. Similarly, Fisher House Foundation has supported over 25,000 families with lodging near medical centers. That's fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
Good on you guys. Potentially aiding recovery, but again, no hard numbers on lives. The VA's own VASP program, which is garbage, well, not an NGO, saved 17,000 from 1,000 veterans from foreclosure. Okay, I'm going to give that one to you. I just know that the VA is a pile of crap, which could be argued as life-preserving by preventing economic despair, but without concrete data, I'd lean toward NGOs like Wounded Warrior Project or National Veterans Foundation having high impact due to their focus on mental health and crisis intervention. AIR is tied to preventing suicides, but most lives, no one's got a monopoly on that claim. If you're looking for specifics, I can dig into one organization's programs for you. Would you like me to? To which I responded, yes, please, but I'll get into that in a moment. Now, this data, I get what the AI brought back to me, and I've discovered what AI does is speed up my research.
Yeah.
It allows me to target areas faster. In a targeting sense, when I was doing what I did, which was putting guys like Pop on the X so that bad guys could be dealt with, this would have been fantastic. This would have enabled me to move at 10, 20 times the speed that we could.
Yeah, but here's another thing that we do is we try to get to you before it becomes a crisis.
Yes.
Like literally, you're in your dark times. There's no light to navigate. Now, I can't ride to the rescue, but I could ride by and throw out a spark of hope or give you the tools to build your own with laughter. And you can navigate your fucking self out of that dark cesspool you're in.
This ugly fucking monkey's pulled my ass out of the fire twice now. Hopefully we don't have to go through that again, because man, I've been through some dark shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that derailed my brain real good. No, these organizations, I get what they're saying, but if you have evidence that you've been saving lives, one, track it. It matters.
Yeah.
It does matter, because every life saved, there's a brother coming after that says, okay, these are who they're going to help me because I can see evidence of it. I can see evidence that these guys actually give a damn and are going to try to help. And two, once you've got these lists, keep talking to people. Don't just stop. The brotherhood doesn't die. We're not an item. We're not a commodity. We're not a marketing tool. We're all real lives out there. And once you've established that baseline of, okay, we saved these guys, and we don't release all of the names out to the public unless you say we can. But we know who you all are. And we check in on as many people as we can, especially if situations are rough, whenever we can.
I think Blake has been putting the live saved emails into a folder on his computer.
Good. Good. Yeah, we need to organize it. We are a little disorganized. We're working on that. I've got the shows cataloged now, though. I just put the first quarter in a separate folder.
All right.
I've got the first 3 months of the year, the first quarter in there. But to these organizations out there, let's pull up another one. We'll grab this guy here. Thanks, Jimmy. Lifeline for Vets. We're proud to serve the crisis management information and referral needs of all U.S. veterans and their families. The Lifeline for Vets provides a unique and much-needed service for veterans. We're non-governmental. You're an NGO. You probably receive government funding. That's okay. We provide a proven vet-to-vet service model. That's good. We know that works because, hey, hi, here we are. We give real solutions for problems veterans face. I'd like to hear more about that. The Madman film. The worst part of war should not be coming home. Guess what? It is. It took me years to come home, and I am still not adjusted.
You're never home.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest. You never
and only we understand it. If you try to talk to a civilian about this is the worst part about some of these organizations. I'm going to call this part out. particularly the VA, they use civilian psychiatrists.
Worthless.
I don't care how long you've been doing it or if you've got degrees from every Ivy League university there is. You don't know what's in a grunt's brain. You cannot understand a guy who's been over.
Yeah.
You can basically understand it. You can understand it on an intellectual or an academic level, but you're never going to understand it.
Well, let's just do a quick comparison. When I was lower enlisted, when I was in the 9th Infantry Division, just a straight leg grunt, I had to go on sick call a couple times. And I literally went on sick call and I had really bad strep throat. And I would go in there and they'd ask you questions and they had like a flow chart. And the guy asking the question was a private first class who, you know, he just doesn't know what he's fucking doing. He's just following instructions. But he didn't have any insight. And it's the insight that
Again, he's a PFC.
Yeah, it's the insight that makes the difference.
Yeah. I didn't know how to talk with soldiers until probably my 3rd or 4th year as between E4 and E5. Because as an E4, I got a team, which is pretty normal. And then at E5, I started to get more responsibility and everything. And I was a barracks sergeant almost right away when I became an E5. And that's a fast learning curve, let me freaking tell you. But I got that barracks. I was coming from 2nd Infantry LURS to a headquarters company at Army level. So I had all the clerks and jerks. So I had like all of the crybabies.
Well, they actually started, when I was a senior private first class, I was always get put in charge of shit because they only had to tell me to do shit once. I didn't have to really get supervised. You didn't really have to come check on anything because if I did it and I told you I did it, it was done.
They were probably grooming you for 4 and 5.
Oh yeah.
At that point. Yeah. That's pretty normal. We don't even get out of our MOS schools. We don't get out of our AITs until we're in E4. So
yeah, I get you.
Because our schools are so damn long. So Lifeline for veterans, stop veteran suicides. The MVF has a solution to the veteran suicide problem. That statement right there, you guys, and I'm talking to Lifeline for vets. Look, again, appreciate you. You're doing good things for vets. I'm not dissing you. But don't say you have a solution for the veteran suicide problem, because if you did, we wouldn't be losing 22 to 44 guys a day.
Yeah.
Okay, just don't say that.
And those are the actual, like, blatant suicides. It's not even counting the guys who are doing all kinds of risky behavior, drinking themselves to death, using hard drugs, getting with some, toxic, slot C and give yourselves the hipple hiv.
I see a lot more veterans in my experience that do the slow motion.
Yep.
The slow motion ejection. We need to come up with a term for that, where you just engage in shitty behavior
until you're done.
And it can take years in some cases.
Oh yeah, it's painful.
It is not. It's the worst. That's by far the worst one in my opinion. And there's almost nothing you can do to help some of those guys because they have the trajectory. Their trajectory is just toast.
Yep.
And it's very hard to get to those guys. The NVF has a solution to the veteran suicide problem. A vet-to-vet crisis hotline, the Lifeline for Vets, operation since 1985, and staffed by trained fellow veterans. Okay, I'm going to say this about that. I already mentioned having a solution. You've got a good idea. A crisis hotline, the problem with that is not everybody's looking for a crisis hotline when they've got a bottle of Jack in one hand and are staring off the edge of a parking structure. Okay? You're not likely to dial an 800 number. What you do have is a good resource, but it's not the solution. Now, this one I really like. Operated since 1985 and staffed by trained fellow veterans. Bingo. Okay, these guys get it on that front. Lifeline for Vets gets it. They've got veterans on their lines, and that's what, in the case of veterans, that's what we need. I understand that everybody out in the audience isn't a veteran, but that's what we're talking about tonight. There are at least 20 veteran suicides a day. It's between 22 and 44. Pop and I have looked at it over and over again. That's 9,000 former vets. That's 9,000 vets each year that we're losing to suicide. And the rate of active duty suicides has increased over the last 5 years. I don't know what their date is for this data. I'm imagining that's the height of the Iraq War.
Actually, it has not. They've been spending between 60 and 200 million a year, and the numbers have only gone up.
Yeah,
and I think they're flirting with $250 million this year to fight the suicide.
DOD has really shanked it on this one. DOD has really failed to respond to the veterans' needs and the soldiers' needs when it comes to this stuff. They are, hands down, in my opinion, the absolute worst. But here, vet to vet, when it matters most, there are other veterans hotlines out there. This is the only one where a vet can talk to another vet who has been there and understands. Thank you. I like these guys for that alone.
Yep.
It's exactly what I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, where it just is what it is. There are certain professions out there. Like, I couldn't sit down with a cop and understand what he goes through on a nightly basis as a patrol officer at night in an inner city.
Well, I did do that.
I don't know.
Well, I did that video, the price of the uniform for the first responders, and that's like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
that one came out. Because those guys suffer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The horrors that they see. When I got out, I had buddies who said, "Oh, you should become a paramedic," or "Oh, you should become a cop." I have that thing in the back of my head, and I know quite a few vets who've got it, where if we rolled up on like a triple homicide where a guy killed 3 kids and he was still alive,
he wouldn't be alive.
I would. I'm sorry. And you don't know that? Yes, I do, because I had an incident while I was overseas on a mission where something like that happened. And a thing happened. I'm not going to go through all the events right here, but there were only 4 of us, and we were on a listening post, but we had line of sight with our objective, and we had binoculars and shit, because you got to be far enough back, because their dogs will smell you if you're too close. Okay. One of the guys said, "Oh my God." And we all picked up binoculars and looked, and a kid got popped. And everything in my head went, stand up, take your weapon, walk down that hill, and go pop that motherfucker. It'll be fine. And fortunately, I didn't do that, because that would have compromised the team. It would have been a bad thing. But that happened, and basically right in front of me. And I know that I cannot function in that environment. I have the greatest respect for police and first responders who deal with that on a daily basis. I truly do. I have tremendous respect for them, because emotionally that would probably cripple the shit out of me if I had to see that. And I know they see it probably on a weekly basis.
Well, in the major cities they do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
a lot of state troopers see some crazy shit on the roads as well.
I'm sure. Yeah, I have a weak spot in my heart for kids and animals. Yeah. It's just how I'm wired. What are you going to do? So where were we? Let's see here. For every suicidal veteran out there, there are 5 to 10 veterans who are at risk. They may be suffering from PTSD or traumatic brain injury, or just shit that happened to us, man. You have no idea the stuff that goes on. Unemployment, suffering other problems like family-related issues, family court, things like this. There's a large
failed relationship.
failed relationship, often dealing with multiple issues that put them at risk for becoming suicidal. Yes. So these guys are probably one of the best at understanding the problem, it looks like to me. This is Lifeline for Vets at nvf.org. Let's move to Disabled American Veterans over here.
DAV.
Let's see how DAV.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the DAV.
I don't. And these guys were selected by the Grok AI as organizations that help veterans in danger in the self-kill box.
Yep.
The guys that have wandered into the box. So they came up on this list. I didn't just put them here. Lifetime of support, life-changing services. You implied you know something about these guys.
Well, I've had a lot of guys in Guard and Reserve units that contact the DAV to assist with disability ratings and what have you. And from the stories I've heard, they really didn't have much success. I could be wrong. I'm just going with the feedback I was given from about a couple dozen guys.
So not very effective.
I would put them in the 30 percentile.
That's one of the big things that I've heard about quite a few of these organizations is their level of effectiveness. Now, I haven't had time to properly go through them and assess whether that's because they're just in name only doing these things.
Yeah.
Or if it's just because they're disorganized and grabastic.
Well, we go like an example I want to give you is Wounded Warrior.
Okay.
I have a really close personal friend of mine. I served alongside him for a few years. And he medically retired probably 5-6 years before I did. And he was a representative for Wounded Warrior up in the Utica area, Utica, New York. And he did that for about 6 months, and he just said, fuck it. He's like, this is full of bullshit. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna have my name associated with that bullshit. And I'm like, okay. And he was done with them.
I'm going to go to share this tab instead and pull up the Wounded Warriors thing. Now, one of the biggest problems that organizations have is one of our personal favorites, mission creep. And it looks like Wounded Warrior lost sight of it, what it was doing, and became all singing and all dancing.
Well, don't they have like an incredibly huge budget?
We'll get to the budgets in just a minute, but look at the number of things that they do for veterans. Look, it's nice that they try to do all of these things. Okay? But if you're going to do stuff like this, particularly with people who are at risk of self-ejection, you might want to focus a little more and not be all over the map here. Adaptive sports, alumni connection, benefit services, community partners, family support, financial readiness, government affairs, independence program, international support, mental wellness, WWP support groups, physical health and wellness project, Odyssey Soldier Ride, Warrior Care Network, Warriors to Work, WWP Resource Center, and WWP Talk.
That's huge. That's a huge.
So what do? I look at this list and I don't know what you do. Honestly.
Yeah.
What do you really do? And again, we're not bagging on these organizations. I'm giving my assessment as a veteran of these organizations as we look at them and saying, what are you focused on? How many people are you helping? What are you using to do that? What kind of a budget? We're going to get to budgets in just a minute. Some of the budgets are going to blow your fucking mind.
Yeah, I know.
It's
insane.
And how effective are you? Now, one of the basic metrics of how effective you are is, look, if you're dealing specifically with veteran self-ejection, maybe you should have a ballpark number of how many guys you've helped.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if they have a long list of stuff there. They can always give metrics like how many homes did you modify for wounded veterans?
Yep.
How many houses did you build for wounded veterans?
Mm-hmm.
How many jobs have you got these guys? Stuff like that.
Yep.
You never see that. You're just throwing money.
How many beneficial outcomes did you have from calls?
Yeah.
Because in our experience, we've been doing this for a minute, almost 16 years now. In our experience, if we help a guy out, even if we don't know we're helping somebody, we almost always get a call or an email of some kind. We have a good idea of roughly how many guys we've helped out over the years. Now, just on that, we know the 561 number, the registered members of the regiment, if you will. But we also know that we've helped somewhere close to 12,000 guys out at one point or another in one form or another. If we went back through just the emails, hey, thanks, guys, you helped steer me toward the right thing, or you helped steer me away from this.
Keep me sane in insane time.
Keeping me sane in an insane time, that kind of thing. Our number is somewhere around 12,000. It seems like a lot, but just based on what we've seen over the years, that's about where we're at.
It's over 16 years worth of time, though.
Yep. And that's just off the top of my head, knowing how we've been operating. These guys can't give one of those metrics. Or the guys that are in danger, the information that I got from St. Louis. Why doesn't anybody done that? Why doesn't the VA have that? The VA should have that out there. If you've got that information out there, well, now you've got a target base to go for. I know I need to be paying special attention to these junior enlisted and junior NCOs.
Yep.
I know where I need to be. I don't need to waste my time with the colonels and the warrant officers.
Or the senior enlisted.
Or the senior enlisteds. They're fine.
Well, most of the time, the senior enlisted have already been through the meat grinder.
Yes, and if they've made it that far, they're usually pretty good to go.
Yeah.
Let's see where we've got here. I'm going to share this tab instead. U.S. vets. This is U.S. vets. Now, some of the pictures you see in here where these veterans are homeless and living on the street and stuff like that, that's one that's very real. Pop and I have both been through that. Pop went through a more extreme version than I did. I literally slept in a cot in the back room in his house for a little while. But what's the estimate of homeless vets on the street right now? I haven't looked at it in like 2-3 years.
Somewhere between 30 and 40% of the men out there who are homeless are veterans.
So we're talking close to 100,000.
More than that.
Of veterans.
Well, if you like 60 to 70% of all of the homeless are men. And of the homeless that are men, about half of them to 25%, somewhere in there, are veterans. And it's really hard to track these numbers because like the VFW has its own numbers. American Legion has its own numbers. And, listen, in my opinion, we should not have all of these illegal aliens in this country and giving them shit if we have veterans on the street.
Yes. Yep.
That should not fucking happen.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. A lot of these veterans and the men who are homeless are there because they got divorced.
Yes. And lost everything.
They lost everything.
Yep.
And they're never going to get out of the hole because they owe child support. And every state in the union, their arrearage penalties is between 9 and 17%.
So I just did a quick search of percentage of homeless men that are veterans on the Brave browser there. It says, according to the latest data, men account for 87.2% of total veteran homeless population in Texas. And this is similar to the share of veterans in the United States who are men, 90%. Additionally, the National Alliance to End Homelessness reported that 88.8% of veterans experiencing homelessness were men.
Yeah.
That's
a great recruiting poster. Yeah, join the military and wind up homeless. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is USA vets or US vets, and here's things that they offer. If you need support, you can call us for assistance and things like that. Look, when I was going through my stuff, I called multiple agencies. I was a lifetime member of VFW at the time. I asked them for help repeatedly. I repeatedly asked them for help. All they did was send me more emails and letters for more donations. Never once did they try to help. VFW, in my opinion, in my experience, is one of the worst. But one of the things that bothers me right off the bat here with US vets is volunteer. Okay, that's good, but volunteer to do what? What are we doing with that? Donate now. They all say that. Big one for me here is hire a veteran. Now, how is this organization going to get a vet hired? Because I can tell you from experience that, especially after the Iraq conflict, they weren't hiring veterans. You couldn't, if you were a white male veteran,
good luck.
It was almost impossible to get work.
Yeah.
The media was in the middle of portraying during the Obama administration as they sent thousands of us into combat in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places around the world. At home, they were saying that white male veterans were radicalized and dangerous. Remember that crap?
Yep.
That was like their mantra. They sent us over for combat, and then we come back to find out that we are radicalized and dangerous, and we couldn't get jobs.
Yeah.
It was frankly,
it was bullshit.
Really frustrating. It was really seriously frustrating. Now, this one is Mission 22. Now, right off the bat, we know immediately what their mission is. If you know the 22 number. When their tour is over, our mission begins. Mission 22 provides support to veterans and their families when they need it most right now through comprehensive approach outreach events and programs for promoting long-term wellness and sustainable growth. What is their mission? At Mission 22, our commitment could not be more personal. It was founded by veterans. Most of our staff are veterans. Spouses of veterans have immediate family members. We provide extensive personalized support and resources to help veterans and their families thrive. Mission 22's programs for veterans, military spouses, etc., recognizes that a veteran's experience is a family's experience. In some cases, your family has been taken from you entirely, and they left and took everything with them and killed your dog. Our ambassador program further supports veterans and military families, a network of more than 3,500 veterans and civilians in all 50 states and around the world. We work to advance society's collective understanding of the issues faced by active service members, veterans, and their families. You're never going to understand. I love you for trying, but you're not going to understand.
Nope.
At Mission 22, we know firsthand that veterans and service members bring extensive skills and assets to any situation. I haven't seen a mission here. It's just a bunch of feel-good pabulum.
Well, with our organization, when I started this, was basically to educate men on the dangers of marriage and feminism and, its detriment to the Western civilization. And it's only, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know it at the time, but I was over the X. Yeah. I'm literally like, holy fuck. I'm literally over the target. I might as well start dropping bombs. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I forget, I think of the first video you showed me was the original Purple Heart.
Yeah, Purple Heart's Final Beat.
And it just fucked me up. Like, badly. And I shot my own video later called Welcome Home Hero.
Yeah,
we shot down at Gasoline Alley in Royal Oak. The Patrick, the bartender, let us shoot the video there.
Yep.
And we've been working together pretty much on and off ever since. But with Mission 22 here again, I mean, it sounds good, but I don't see what they're doing. Help when you need it most. Our mission eliminates
22 a day Well, the suicide's 22 a day.
But
'Cause
do you see it here?
I don't.
That's my point. Our mission eliminates the wait times experienced by veterans seeking treatment. It helps provides help when they need it most. Right now, our program for veterans are effective and provide long-term help and healing for those dealing with PTS, TBI, or military sexual trauma.
Yeah.
That's for you Marine Corps personnel who were on Navy ships.
Correct.
You know why the Navy keeps Marines on their ships, yes?
I believe it's because goats would be too conspicuous.
Sheep are too obvious. Our comprehensive program offerings from recovery and resiliency to Amare Wellness. This doesn't say, the only thing here that makes sense is the final statement. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. If you have effective ideas you'd like to share, let us know. We have all kinds of effective ideas, but I don't think you want to hear them.
Yeah, and like Redonkulas has touched on all of this stuff.
Yes.
I've done videos on PTSD, loss of purpose, loss of hope, the price of the uniform. I mean, how to not take any shit, build your confidence. I mean, I have so many self-help videos out there. We should probably categorize them into different so it's easier if somebody shows up at the site, they go, oh, self-help, and there's a bunch of my videos. And then
we try to do that with tags and the categories, at least on the YouTube. But I agree with that. We can become more organized. That's one of the things we're trying to do now.
Yeah, because we got 2,000 plus videos out there now.
Oh God, it's a lot, dude. It's so many. It's so, when I'm going through the shorts, when I'm creating the shorts, just going through the old videos, I'll get to like page 43 and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Doesn't end. This doesn't end. But it's good because, I mean, there's source material for days and days. These guys here, Homes for Our Troops, again, these guys provide something good and real. They are setting up homes for guys that are tore up and need to get something under their feet. One of the limitations with an organization like this is it's obviously expensive to provide homes for people.
Yes.
So I do question their effectiveness on that front. It definitely would help a guy who's homeless to get a home under his ass to keep him from choosing self-ejection.
Well, it's more than just the home. You got to have the job and the home.
Yes. Yes.
And
which is one of the problems.
That's tough.
Yeah. It's one of the problems with this kind of stuff. To build and donate specially adapted customs home nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. Okay. That's a good one. I don't know why they came up on the veteran suicide portion of this, but there they are. Now, there's a ton of stuff that I could go through here on each of the organizations and what their purposes, the stated purposes are, but it would take a long time to go through it all.
Yeah.
Wounded Warrior Project, I found strengths of their massive reach, and they have apparently really robust mental health programs, which is good. And it looks like they've got a good career support program. Weaknesses, they've got a lot of overhead and past controversies, and they don't really have a focus. We looked at that. When I pulled out their salad of all of the things that they do. But they did have some controversy with members procuring houses and vehicles and things like that, which should have been above the pay grade. Look, I'm not a money-focused individual. Pop isn't either. It's one of the reasons that we get along. I'm more focused on quality of life. If I was running a multi-million-dollar organization like this, these guys are taking $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 salaries. There's no way I would do that.
Well, all right, let's check.
70 or 80K
Well, no,
would
all
be
right, hang on.
reasonable to me. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm just going to be honest. If we came into a windfall of money,
Mhm.
I would give everyone in the organization their back pay because you guys have been working for nothing for like Blake basically donates a majority of his time to the show, and you know,
I'm not working for nothing.
I know, but you're working for very little. Number
I'm
one,
not talking about the money. I'm talking about I do the majority of what I do. I simply can't work for nothing. A guy's got to have a roof.
I got you.
But
I would
I
compensate.
do what I do because I, honest to God, believe in the whole. I did mine. There's guys behind me. They need help. They need this support.
Uh-huh.
That's why I do this. Honest to God.
Yeah. But I mean, I would probably give everyone in the organization that's been with us for a decent amount of time back pay, and then we would start and make everything, work it out. But yeah, I mean, if you're working for a nonprofit, you probably shouldn't be paying yourself $5 million a year. I'm just
It's
going to be honest.
unseemly.
Yeah.
And this was your experience as well, if I am not mistaken. The mark of a good NCO when I was in was you put yourself on the detail roster.
Yep.
You didn't act high and mighty. I mean, you stayed in charge because you had to, and that was your job, but you didn't act high and mighty about it. You didn't lord it over people. You didn't treat people like shit just to prove how cool you were. If you had a guy with a problem, you fixed the problem.
Uh-huh.
You did whatever you could to take care of him. If you had a guy who like had a baby coming or was getting married or something, you showed up in one capacity or another. But I think Bob and I have both officiated weddings at one point or another. It's just something that happens.
I've been a best man at a couple dozen.
Yeah.
Weddings.
Yep. Same. And I actually officiated one in Korea. You don't have to have the priest up there doing you may now kiss in Korea. You can have your best friend do it.
Huh.
At any rate, so let's talk about those budgets for a second, shall we? Wounded Warrior Project, and these are their reported budgets from 2023 that I went and pulled. Wounded Warrior Project had what?
Share the tab.
I don't have a tab for you to share.
Never
I'll tell you what, I can do this. I think I can share a window. I will share the actual window on my McCain here. Move that partially out of the way. Is that how readable is that? Is that not readable? Should I zoom in there a little bit?
A little zoom in there.
I'll see if I can zoom in. This is
enhance.
Yeah, it's not working. This is Notebook. It's just a scratch pad that I use to look at everything. Anyway, right there you can see Wounded Warrior Project, $350 million in 2023. Gary Sinise Foundation, $50 million. National Veterans Foundation, not publicly reported. Disabled American Veterans, $162 million. U.S. Vets, $100 million. Mission 22, not publicly reported. Homes for Our Troops, $37 million. Operation First Response, $1.5 million.
All right, hang on. If they're running a nonprofit, you have to report that. So they might not be nonprofits.
We'll have to look into that. That is a tad's on the suspicious side, isn't it?
Uh-huh. But Wounded Warrior, $350 million.
Yeah. They should be doing a whole lot of good. And while I don't know everything about the organization and I haven't seen everything that they've done, I don't see a lot of evidence that $350 million for a single year's budget, especially this far past the last serious action, which was Afghanistan.
Uh-huh.
I don't see a lot of evidence. That's just me. I'm just saying.
I know, but where the hell are they getting 350?
Yeah. Donations. They rely almost entirely on
They
donations,
got to be getting
charities, and
grants
grants.
as well. Get the hell out of here. There's got to be some grants from the federal government.
Yeah. I imagine there are. Look, it's I have to keep repeating myself. I believe that these organizations do good things for veterans, but I feel, based on what I've seen, that a lot of them could do a lot better keeping track of the actual statistics. A lot of them should be able to tell you how many people they've helped, at least, and in what ways. That should be basic data. A lot of them should know the data that I showed you at the beginning of the show on where the problems are, what ranks those problems are occurring in, what regions those are occurring in. I looked at that data 16 years ago, and until I opened that page tonight, I could still tell you without looking that it was the E3s to E6s that were having the biggest problems, and the largest component that was really seriously seeing trouble was the Army, and that Fort Hood was the epicenter for it all when that stuff happened between 2009 and 2011. You should be able to, if you're going to run an organization that saves lives, basically, you should be able to recite some of the basic statistics off of the top of your head so that you know what your mission is. It's like going on the mission without attending the brief.
Oh, yeah, that's a death sentence.
You're going to fuck something up.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get somebody killed.
It's guaranteed. Yeah.
Well, let me give the briefing. All right, if you guys have been paying attention to the scroll below the screen, you know, the word salad from, you know, what we put out is Redonkulas has been demonetized beyond all rhyme and reason. And we get just a fraction of the interactions that we used to, mainly because YouBoob has got their foot up our ass. And most of the videos we have are demonetized, even though the ones that are quote-unquote demonetized, they're running the same amount of commercials on the ones that are monetized. Why that is, I don't know, but it just is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. We've been running on a shoestring budget here for quite some time, and any little bit you send, you know, goes a long way and keeps these wheels rolling forward. So we appreciate every bit you send. So thank you in advance. All right.
So, looking at the VA page, which I just shared over, let's see. We'll select Michigan because that's where we are, because I'm curious what data the VA bothers to show. Veteran suicide data sheet for 2022.
You're showing us the notebook here.
Yep, notebook.
My bad. Not my intention. I'm clicking all the wrong things. Jimmy, I am fucking myself in the goat ass. I'll be with you momentarily.
I am here to help you try not to fuck the goat, because that would be bad.
Bad. There we go. Let's try this again. Now, I want to share that sheet here. Share this tab instead. No. Where's my tab? Why are you doing this to me? Oh. It's sharing two tabs. Share this tab. Jimmy, I don't know what happened.
StreamYard, it's a StreamYard thing.
Well,
here we go. The Midwestern data sheet. Here we go. U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is leading efforts to understand suicide risk factors. This is why we need you, Jimmy. I suck at this part of the job, and you don't categorically. That's why you're the button pushing monkey. As part of its work, VA analyzes data at the national and state levels to guide the design and execution of the most effective strategies to prevent veteran suicide. And you suck at it. What does that tell you? You're doing it wrong. 22 data sheets represent the latest findings from VA's ongoing analysis. This is for 2022. Age groups, Michigan veteran suicide. Michigan, we've had 170 in 2022.
Uh-huh.
And this doesn't tell you
Anything.
This is why.
And here's another thing. All right. They pretty much quit tracking you as a veteran after you've been out of the service for 5 years.
Yes.
So there's these numbers that they're telling us
are very likely wrong.
They're way
and they
wrong.
tell you, and they tell you how we bothered to end things. Firearms for veterans, really, that's not going to be a surprising chunk of data. Look, this took me, share this tab instead. This here is from the exact same data that the VA has available. And I did this in a very small amount of time using an Excel spreadsheet. Now, the VA is telling you that the only thing they can do, it's double sharing for some reason. This is very strange.
We can still see the...
There's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying. The VA is trying to tell you this is all that they can give you. And I just showed you like 15 different takes on the same data and how they're broken down and what the categories are and where everything is and everything. And this has like age groups and how we decided to end it.
So, I mean,
how is that useful?
Well, one, it's not. And number two, we know the VA doesn't really give a shit about the veterans. You're literally just a number on a board until you die.
Yes.
That's it. Yep. I mean, I go to the VA every now and again, and, you know, I've never really had a good experience other than the emergency room down in Detroit.
Really?
The emergency room in Detroit, when I have to go there, I don't really have to wait 8 hours. I'm usually in, you know, on a bed within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, they handle business, do what they got to do to help me out with my migraine headaches or whatever's going on. And I really can't complain. Now, I've never had to go in there for any like super serious stuff because in my opinion, I really don't want a bunch of C+ doctors cutting on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. This one, the VA kind of did get right. This is useful data right here, but it's just the tip of the useful data. This is like the wrapping paper. The deaths between 2001 and 2022. Look at the spike.
Huh. Oh,
and then you can see it tapers off in 2020 and then rises again slightly after that. That period between 2008 and 2018, that's 10 years. That's 10 years of our brothers self-deleting.
Yep.
And these organizations can't tell you much about any of it.
Well,
they want to talk about gun violence.
Well, here's the thing is they don't want to tell you the numbers because the numbers are just that fucking egregious.
Yeah. Yeah. They can't bring attention to it because then people might become interested in and want to know what the hell is going on.
And people ask the questions like, what the fuck are you doing with all this money if you're not making it a difference? It's like the Department of Education. You're throwing good money after bad money.
Yeah.
You're not seeing positive results, but you're raising the budget.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Obviously, there's a disconnect somewhere, and they need to unfuck themselves.
As much as we talked about the private NGOs that are working with veteran suicide issues, the most egregious candidate is far and away our own government itself. Yeah. Veterans Affairs and DOD. They're awful. They don't know what they're doing. They're staffed with I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I don't care. You can call me an istophobe idiot all you like. They're staffed with third worlders who don't know anything at all about Americans, let alone the mentality of an American soldier, which is completely different from even a normal American. You get the hardcore warrior guys, the lifelong infantry, or the Delta guys, or the EOD, or the engineers guys. They're wired completely different to a normal human being, to a normal American. They're completely different creatures. And you can't tell me that some 60-year-old overweight Indian woman who smells like a bad curry salad with a clipboard and a pencil is going to know anything about this guy. Sorry, that's just reality. And I know that because that's exactly what I experienced. I'm not just making up a stereotype. That's precisely what I encountered at the Dingle, the VA down in Detroit, which is unfortunately named the Dingle.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Dingle. Yeah.
But that was literally my experience, was an overweight 60-year-old Indian woman who barely spoke English, who had a clipboard and a pencil. That was the psychologist they assigned to me.
Yeah, I won't even mess with that shit. I won't even dare do that down there.
No.
I just go there for migraine headaches and, some back pain, neck pain, shit like that.
Routine maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So while all of that is going on, as military suicide deaths rise, DoD hopes for unprecedented investment in prevention. This is 2024. Department of Defense hopes an unprecedented investment of about $261 million in the fiscal year 2025 budget will boost suicide prevention efforts as the number of active duty military suicide deaths continue to rise. One, why are they rising? Well, probably because the military has become a DEI experiment, and you've got a lot of guys in there that don't belong in there, particularly those guys wearing dresses.
Yes, that'll do it.
It's a high suicide rate. Sorry, they got like a 41% self-delete.
Before and after the surgery, there's no improvement.
Yeah. 41% deletion rate. You can't put that in a uniform, man. You can't do that. It's not going to work. What?
All I could say is this, is we do have a generation of individuals in the military who grew up with there's no winners or losers, everyone gets a trophy, and no bullies.
Yeah.
So they're making it to adulthood, and they're getting their manhood by default. And they never had a father in their life. And
I slipped the other day. I was at range cleanup at the sportsman club that I belong to. And it's a fairly rural club. Quite a few people showed up to clean up the ranges. That was good. There were a couple of young kids there. And these two boys who were about 16, 17 years old were debating how to get a barrel over to the dumpster, like a standard 55-gallon drum-sized barrel. And they were being very squeamish about it and worried about getting dirty or something along those lines. And my NCO in the back of my head goes, "Quit being a faggot, just carry it over there." Well, unfortunately for them, I had the external speakers on, and I actually said that.
Yeah.
And one of them looked like I had just punched him square in the nuts, and the other one just started laughing. I wasn't sure what was going to come of that, but what I said worked, and they, in fact, carried the barrel over there. But yeah, it just came out of my mouth. "Quit being a faggot."
I gotcha.
And the look on their faces, the one kid, like I said, he looked just devastated that I had just laid that on him.
Yeah, but that's the people that are going in the military.
Yeah. To their credit, I haven't heard a complaint yet. That doesn't mean there won't be one, but
who cares?
I'll just tell them, "I'm sorry, I left my external speakers on." That was the little guy in the back of my head.
I do the same shit.
Yeah. The rates are similar to that of the U.S. population when adjusted for age and sex differences. Bullshit. but they caution the year-to-year increases is not statistically significant, meaning it may just reflect normal variation.
Yeah.
That's a 12% increase.
All right. First of all, they're trying, again, they don't want you to know the numbers, and they're trying to downplay it because it's a big problem, and they don't want to attract a bunch of attention.
They've hidden it here in bullet points that they know nobody reads. Watch this. Enlisted males under the age of 30 accounted for 61%. What's enlisted males under the age of 30? That's our E3s to E6s. Among active duty suicide deaths, firearm was the most common. Duh.
Yeah.
You're dealing with military. 92% of active deaths occurred in CONUS, particularly in areas with large populations. We know that. I know exactly where all of the percentages are. The reserve suicide count increased from 65 to 69% in 2023. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the reserve guys don't live the life for the most part. They don't really. During the Iraq thing, the Iraq-Afghanistan thing, when the reserve guys were deploying, that changed. But when I was at like civil affairs in the 90s, when we would get the reserve guys, they didn't behave like military at all. And I had to keel haul a couple of guys a couple of times.
Well, here's another thing. A lot of the reserve units, if they lose a soldier when he's, not at drill,
mm-hmm.
and the cause of death isn't disclosed, the unit doesn't find out.
Really?
Yeah.
All they get is a deceased notice?
They say, well, he died. And then,
well, clearly they'd have to notify the unit why their guy isn't there anymore.
They don't have to notify the unit at all.
Really?
Yeah, we just find out like such and such died. And then we're like, okay. And then we have to figure it out, put together the funeral detail for him and all the other shit. Because usually when that does happen, the guys in the unit are like, fuck it, we're going to bury him. Don't even call the active duty to send out their 3 guys with their horn. Fuck those guys.
And good on you guys. Good on those guys.
We asked, and a lot of times the family doesn't want to tell you that, that they committed suicide. You get like, hey, he died in a motorcycle accident, or he was non-responsive. He drank himself to death, or whatever.
Here's an interesting
overdose
point in here, Pop, in this article. Watch this. You familiar with the term below the fold?
Yes.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, that means the front page of the newspaper back when there was such a thing as an actual newspaper that you could hold, where it folded in half. Everything above the fold was the important stuff. Everything below the fold was the also ran stories. So this is below the fold here. You got all of the data that you need to go, oh, that's terrible. But then it says in a paragraph that's not a bullet point, within a year of their death, 44% of active duty troops who died by suicide reported intimate relationship problems.
There you go.
44%. Let's see if I have that.
Here's the other thing.
Hang on.
If you extend that timeline to 5 years, it's 70%.
Pop. That's a 15% increase from the data we looked at from 2009 to 2011. That's a 15% increase.
Yeah. That's some bullshit, man.
That's some serious bullshit. That is I wonder if anybody would like to hear that. If any news agency out there wants to see.
They're not going to cover this.
I know. It's just, I'm trying.
Well, because the minute they cover this, people are going to ask questions why, and it's going to go right back to feminism has fucked up everything.
Yeah.
And the communists with tits don't want the truth out there. That's plain and simple the way it is.
Well, I can't let everybody off the hook that easily. The Bolsheviks want to remain in control. It just is
I said it. Bolsheviks. Now drink.
Jimmy knew that was coming.
I had my Bolshevik radar was going off there for a second.
We are at super chat time. There is a lot more info to cover on this topic. The primary focus tonight was questioning the big non-governmental organizations with their $350 million budgets, the smallest one at $1.5 million.
If I had that kind of money, I could really fuck some shit up, man.
We would do all kinds of stuff. We could get all kinds of stuff done with that kind of money.
Well, first thing I would do is I would start an actual administrative war with the divorce industry. Because that's the main thing that's killing these guys.
44%, a 15% increase from 2009.
But the thing is if you extend that out to 5 years, it's 60 to 70% of the time.
I agree. Those are the statistics that we are presented with at the moment. This here says to me that a lot of these NGOs, while they do good, could be doing better in keeping track of what good they're doing. Again, the purpose of this is the guys that come afterward. We look at this stuff. I don't just randomly go, oh, that looks like a veterans organization, and call these guys. I look into them. Now, if I'm a new guy right off the boat, fresh from overseas, and I need help, and I'm looking for somewhere that can help, if I see a representational section even of the people that they've helped and the rough numbers of the people that they've helped, that's going to encourage me to reach out to them, because I've got a marker now. And military guys, we love our markers. We love to know what's where. We love to look at a map and say, okay, I see which direction I'm supposed to be going, and none of these organizations have it. Not one of them.
Nope. But the thing is like Wounded Warrior gets what, 350 million a year. They've been probably pulling down that kind of money for the past decade. So they've received over $1 billion just in the past 10 years. Probably close to $2 billion. I believe they came around in 2006-ish. That's a lot of fucking money. A lot of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their metrics is for who they're helping or what they're doing.
Yeah.
I wish they did that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know, because if I look at your budget of $350 million, now I'm directly addressing Wounded Warrior. I don't know if they'll ever hear this, but I'm going to say it. If I'm looking at your budget of $350 million, but then I turn around and see you've helped 40 guys a month, and here's some of the guys that you helped, and here's some of their stories, and you've got a roster that you keep of the guys that you've helped over the years as best as you can. I understand you're not going to get everybody. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you've got a clear-cut mission instead of that stack of salad on your what we do list. That's what I'm going to look for as a veteran who wants to seek help. I want to see some proof that you've helped. I want to see what you have to offer without having to hunt through 500 things. And I want to see that you communicate in that once you help a guy, are you going back? Are you circling back and making sure that he's okay? Are you checking back in on him? Are you encouraging him to go help other guys too? Are you encouraging the brotherhood?
Yep.
To stick together? And then are you continuing the bond of service through your organization and then bringing in other guys so that we feel like we've got somewhere to go? Those are important things. Those are very important things, and they're easily measurable, and that should be what they're shooting for.
And
that's what I want to shoot for here.
Well, here at Redonkulas, I mean, we're selling an intangible.
Yes.
I mean, which is, hope through comedy.
Yeah.
And we're fighting an adversary that you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. But it's literally fatal. It's killing an insane amount of men out there.
Despair.
Yeah. and we're keeping track of it, and it's a fucking intangible.
Yep.
I mean, okay. So, I mean, if we could keep track of an intangible like that, and all we're really doing is when somebody's like, hey, you saved my life. Okay, we give you a number. We read your story online, and we just keep a loose tally. And as we get a new one, we keep adding it to the board.
Yep.
So the 350 million a year, and there's not even a number board. You just went from one salad like we can't track this, we can't track that. You
Strikes me as odd.
Look, they sound like a bunch of officers throwing sand on the ground and doing a bunch of soft shoe dance until they get to their next OER, which is good, and then they fuck off to their next destination.
Yeah. How much good do you think you could do with 350 million a year, Pop?
Oh my God.
I could fuck some shit up. I really could.
They'd almost have to shut us down if we had this kind of resources.
Well, the first thing I would do is I would wage an administrative war against Macomb County and all of their family judges.
Yeah.
I'd have their asses in federal court. I'd sue them fucking 3 ways to Sunday, and I would put together the exact recipe of how it was done, and then I would make sure that was distributed across the entire United States for every county in America to bring the system to its fucking knees.
See, here's the problem that the military never takes into consideration. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, they trained a bunch of guys how to do a whole bunch of different things. And there are different specialties. There are the meat suit relievers. There is the dating service and a couple of other elements that all work together. And when they finally let us out, they don't untrain us. We don't forget how to do all of these things. So what you've got is a whole core of veterans who basically wrote the book on modern special warfare. And then you get smartasses like me and Pop who take that shit and say, look, the book on modern special warfare. Let's overlay that with the family court system. And then we'll use administrative violence instead of bullets. And then we'll start writing battle plans. And now we've got an administrative violence special warfare handbook.
Yeah!
So DOD has sort of kind of fucked itself because we're out here and you pissed us off. All you had to do was be nice to us, you dumb fucks.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we would have been quiet. This never would have occurred to any of us because we would have been quietly fishing somewhere and happy.
I mean, I'm
not
ignorant. I mean, I have a pension. I'll never be rich, but I could literally be living in a camper somewhere close to the Gulf of Mexico,
Gulf of America,
in the morning,
Gulf of America.
Sorry, and just hanging out, and enjoying life. I can't do that because it's so fucked up, and so many people are getting maimed and killed by this adversary that you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell.
Yep.
And I could fight it, and I have been, but I'm one motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm just one dude.
Well, no, you're not. I'm right here, dude.
I got you. I'm just saying.
And like I said, they spent years training us in freaking unconventional warfare. You dumb fucks. All you had to do to defuse this was be nice. That's it. That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
And now you got Redonkulas on virtually every video platform on the planet. I use a lot of camouflage when I run our shows. I'll have a couple like anti-woman feminist, and then I'll put a couple other ones in there, and it's basically smoke screens so they can't like put the X on me and destroy us right off the bat.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to the super chats. We're
dragging. It is a super chat time, but you know what? Also is it's also a good time for.
Don't do it, Jimmy.
It's always a good time for Dwarf and Nance. If you haven't seen this, you're gonna laugh your balls off. Sorry.
I hate you.
I am the evil button pushing monkey. I am in control of the buttons, and I will push the button.
In Bolsheviksville, where the sun shines bright, live Dwarf and Nance, what a charming sight. With Sandy the maid and Pop dropping by, and Hillary's antics that'll make you sigh. Oh, Dwarf and Nance, they've got it made, with laughter, love, and a living maid. From morning toast to an evening dance, it's always a hoot with Dwarf and Nance.
I love that. It's great.
By the way, Jimmy, I'm a dwarf. You made me too tall.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't make it. I just it was
Not
just,
you, Von Baum.
there you go. All right, we'll start over here as we usually do on the U-boob side. We got 327 with 237. Let's get that up to over 300 there, gents. I don't want to have to hit any other buttons that are unpleasant and make you want to vomit. Because I don't want to vomit. See the first one here. Uber driver of the apocalypse with $5 says, had my first cardiologist appointment since the heart attack, and the doctor says everything is a-okay. Fucking winning. Hell yeah.
Good for you.
Still in the cardio rehab and going well now with strength training. Hell yeah.
Keep going, brother.
I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you just had a heart attack, you should probably get yourself some berberine and take some niacin before you go to sleep, because that will help raise your HDL cholesterol, which is basically the scrub. It's a scrubbing action inside your arteries to get a lot of that cholesterol out of there. So,
bourbon and niacin, got it.
Berberine,
bourbon. That's what I said.
Yeah. I got you now.
Well, it's better than whiskey and Ambien, because you might end up with a couple of battle axes that you don't remember.
Battle axes, and I'll never ever forget that day. Walked up to the front porch, looked at it all, and just picked up my phone and popped. Did you order some battle axes and 2 Xboxes?
Yeah,
yep. Are the battle axes
cool?
Yeah, it's
cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Let's see. We got a David Hogg here with $2 Australian, so we know it's not the American David Hogg who likes to suck on some hog. Got Bar One Studios here with $5. Says, have you considered it could be as simple as branding, naming it Second Class Citizen instead of something like Comfort for Combat Veterans?
I don't know.
Comfort for Combat Veterans sounds a little like the back alley in Tokari in Second ID Korea.
Yeah, I mean what we have, hope through comedy, is actually a pretty good tagline.
Yeah, hope through comedy. That's a good one.
Yeah.
See, Cinevere Stalker Supreme with $10 says, I got it. Rename it Southern Comfort for Combat Vets.
Ooh.
But we're north of the Yo Mama line.
Well, see, bourbon is fuck you, we're fighting in the parking lot, and Scotch is fuck you, we're fighting right now.
Tequila is my fuck you, we're fighting right now.
Really?
That's mine. Yeah.
Everyone's different. I got you.
Everybody is different.
Yeah. Yep. See, I got FMF Veteran with $20 says, my number is 3 while I was in the service.
Okay.
Wow.
And of course, YouTube's got to do the review. YouTube, you bastard. It did the fucking refresh bullshit on me.
Oh.
Yeah. YouTube likes to fuck around sometimes. Let's see here. We got Mario Trujillo with $5 says, I remember a few years ago, an openly flaming gay friend looked me dead in the eyes and said, there's way too many British cigarettes around these days. And before anyone says it, I'm already going to do it.
You are fined 1 homo suspicion point for violation of the Man Code Morality Statute.
Yeah, that'll be
funny.
I already knew someone was going to say it, so I beat you to the punch. And let's see, we got Sast One Too Many with $10 says, I'll be sending my tax refund to Second Class Citizen. It's not a lot, but I know it will be put to good use.
Well, thanks you so much.
Man. We appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Hope you're doing all good. Let's see. I did see a couple things over on the Odyssey side that says I sent some emails wishing that we would pay attention to the Odyssey chat, but I wish I had a but button. I'm sorry, guys, I don't. I did see the email that you sent. It is starred for Pop to be reading. There's also another one from John M. that is also starred. The tagline is, I need your help. So, Pop, those 2 emails there
I see it.
are for you. And the one from, I believe it was I Send Emails, said he sent something to forward to Battle Dwarf.
I already forwarded it to him.
There you go. So
That's funny because I'm responding right now.
winning. There you go. And over on the Rumble side here, let's hopefully things will not fuck up here. I do got the pop-out chat here. Let me do a refresh here because I know Rumble likes to fudge their numbers here a little
Well,
bit.
you're doing that refresh there. I'd like to point out that, you just saw in real time that we actually look at your stuff and respond.
Yep.
So, a user sent in, Pop saw it, he forwarded it to me. I already saw it. I've already responded to him. So,
winning.
whenever we can, we will.
Yep.
But there you go. There's a real time example.
Yep. Just so that everybody knows, I have all of the chats open. I have all of the tabs open on every single part that we stream to. So I see all of your chats. I will read them. We normally tend to stick to the super chats there because we get a lot. But I do go through and read them all. If there is something of importance that needs to be read, I will read it.
Generally monitor Rumble, and I do the same thing. If it's relevant to the topic that we're on, I will generally call it out. The reason we don't read all the chats is we'd be here for 8 hours at a time.
It'd be 12-hour stream here.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll jump over here to the Rumble side here. We got Net Guy 1975 says, sorry, someone's got to do it. Let's get some Hillary action going.
Oh, you bastard guy.
Nobody
like.
Oh God. Which one? Oh God. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get the bad one out.
Hillbilly Hillary.
That's so hard to watch. I wish we could get that to her and confirm that she saw it. I would. It would make me very happy.
Everybody here on the Redonkulas Regiment, we are not suicidal or any kind of way of that.
Nope.
So, in case Hillary does see this, yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. No, I take your point. That is correct.
I'm just saying.
We are here to not go down that path.
Yeah, we are here to prevent. We are here to prevent the brain matter being introduced to atmospheric pressure.
Yes.
Let's see. Up. Here goes Mando. Ripping the Band-Aid off. Bolshevik. Bolsheviks.
No, don't say it.
Bolsheviks.
No, please stop.
Bolsheviks.
It's showtime. Bolsheviks, baby. Everyone drink.
I love it.
Yep.
I thought that was bad until the Dwarf and Nance one came out.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You like that one.
It's pretty brutal.
It's funny.
I like it because it's clever as fuck and it's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And who thought we'd turn in like a history show into a drinking game?
I mean, there is that.
Yeah. Let's see. Net Guy coming back says, Dwarf with Nancy, take it like the Bolsheviks you are. Not. Well, we already played Dwarf and Nance, so
sorry, man.
Because I'm an asshole. Let's see. Mando coming back says, Pop, you know you're not crying. Your heart would have something other than a rotten black piece of rotten meat for you to cry.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I do have a cold black dead heart.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
There you go.
Yep. Mando again says, Pop, get your foot out of Death's ass. You don't want to know what that ass had in it. I was going to make a joke, but you were being really serious there, Pop. You said you had your thumb in the eye of the devil. I was going to say, well, it's a good thing you didn't have your other thumb up his ass because I'd have to give you a humble suspicion point.
Oh, the fact you just said that at all just causes me cringe.
Good.
Oh.
Let's see. Net guy coming back says, "Pop, death is sending the blue dildo of death after you."
Yeah, it's all right.
Oh
Ruh-roh.
no!
Sooner or later.
Oh no! And it's being carried by a crazy woman with some horse teeth. Where's my fucking button at? God damn it! Where's the button? Button. Who's got the button? Oh, there's the button. Yeah. I seriously can't believe there's people on the internet saying we need AOC to run in 2028.
Oh God.
Yep.
I can't even.
Yeah. Just because she had a rally with like an estimated 28,000 people in some shithole Democrat ran city that are full with communists with tits. Yeah.
That's what feminism is.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on here, we got GR45 Devereaux with $10 saying $10 saying truth. Oh yeah, that's a new name here. Good to see you there, good sir.
Thank you.
Mando coming back says, "Pop and Dwarf, it's the duty of all of us who survived to keep going in memory of the fallen. They lost their days so we could have ours." Yep. That's why you never pick a fight with an old man that is in the that has the job of where young men die.
Yeah, don't pick a fight with an old man who comes from a profession where men die young.
There you go. Thank you.
Leave Gruntpa alone.
Yeah. See, Raging Sailor coming in next says, "Pop, next time I'm headed south of the Canuckistan border, I'll be sending you a bottle of Canuck maple syrup whiskey."
All right.
I successfully had 2 recruits booted out, unsafe handling on live rifle range.
Ooh.
Wow.
Myself.
Wow.
That's not good.
Range for shit like that.
Not good.
I threw 2 officers off in the time period that I was running the 9mm range.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Just like, stay the bleachers, sir.
Yep.
Sit in the bleachers.
Sergeant, you can't talk. Get off my range, ma'am. We'll take it up afterward.
Yep.
Get off my range.
I'm sure she took it up somewhere. Where she took it up, I don't want to know.
That particular one I can actually recall, and she wasn't taking anything up anywhere, at least not from me.
Yeah. Actually, I had a female lieutenant colonel, and she had failed her pistol qualification 2 times in a row. And it was just her 3rd time. And the brigade commander's like, "Hey, Sergeant Pop, go help her out." I'm like, "All right." I walk out there. I'm like, I made her shoot 1 iteration.
Yep.
And I saw she was shooting too high. So then I gave her the new mags. We reset the clock. And the whole time I'm like, "Just shoot him in the dick, ma'am. Shoot him in the dick." She's like, and she passed. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Susan McCarley here with $5 says, "You're still brothers. If you want to be brothers in arms, just plan a few range days. No homo, of course."
All right. Fair enough.
There you go. Let's see. Cliff 3188. Hey, good to see you there, Cliff. Says, wasn't Wounded Warrior one of the charity groups that started the original body positivity movement because they showed amputee vets in a good way? Then the fatties took it over and ruined it.
Who knows?
I don't know. But if we lose a limb and replace it with something bionic, there's a reason for it. We're not the Canadians that are going in and having like legs removed because they feel like they should be amputees. You don't want to go through the experiences that our brothers went through who lost limbs.
No.
It's not a road you want to go down.
That and Canadian healthcare is best we can do is kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Let's see. Mando coming back says, "Pop, make sure you never let Blake watch Top Secret. I doubt he has clearance." Yeah. Let's see. Net guy coming back says, "One Hillary in honor of Digital Do having a clean biopsy today."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Clean biopsy. Good deal. Oh yeah, I saw your email.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did see your email. Haven't had a chance to get back to it, but here I am saying I saw it. Congratulations, dude.
And here's your Hillary.
So good and tasty.
It had to be Hillbilly Hillary. It just had to be
So
that.
good and tasty. What's that all about?
It's just nasty.
Ugh.
That's some glunch. You don't want no glunch.
And we got GR45 Devereaux coming back with $1. He's starting it again. Bolsheviks. Drink.
I'm out of beer.
I'll drink for you then, Pop.
I got you. Yeah.
Let's see. And Susan McCarthy coming back says, hey, NGOs, how much do you pay your C-suite occupants?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look, if you're running a charity, this is my personal opinion. If you're running a charity and you're taking a salary that is above like a small business owner's salary, somewhere between like 70 and 100, I think you're wrong. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, it all depends. So it all depends.
And I do want to say this. During the show, while we were talking about the Gary Sinise project and everything, I did repost the stream, tagged Gary Sinise and their foundation and his foundation. So hopefully they do see it. And I did pin in the or post in the chats.
It's my understanding he does a hell of a lot of good.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yep. So I encourage you guys, if you guys do have a TwitX account, whatever the fuck you want to call it, tag Gary Sinise and the Gary Sinise Foundation. Be polite so that they actually do read the tweet and say, hey, check out Pop, check out Redonkulas, check out Second Class Citizen, see what good they're doing, and see if we can actually get some fucking traction going here, because we've been stalled.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
So,
but through the entire show, I made a point of saying these organizations do good. I'm just asking where certain pieces of information are and suggesting some courses of action.
Yep.
Based on 16 years of experience, because we've been at this for a minute.
Yeah.
Longer than some of those organizations.
Yep.
Let's see. Moving on here, we got Net Guy coming back, says, "Damn, Pop, I now realized I have been listening to you regularly for 10 years. First episode was how to win a gunfight. You should make how to win a gunfight in the zombie apocalypse."
That's Rules of a Gunfight. That came out in 2015. That was actually one of our better videos. It got a lot of airtime.
Hell yeah. Uh-oh. Here comes our favorite Rumble ranter, Lecoq.
Okay.
That's definitely one of the top 3 screen names there. He says, heavily tax OnlyFans and give the money to veterans.
Yeah, there you go.
The problem with giving money away is you're giving money away, and that rarely solves problems. I have often found that it is much better to solve a problem in the form of a car or needed object rather than just giving cash.
Don't just give away money because, people of certain aspects will just go out and buy $6 million mansions.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah.
Moving on here, we got Mighty Mouse Malibu here. Says, a retired vet friend of mine blown up in Iraq 3 times, took a TBI. His guy and him came under an ambush. His Humvee got blown up. Everyone messed up. 2 KIA. It was his responsibility. And he continues here to put who in what position. What he said tears at him, and he's sorry. There's a little misunderstanding here. What he said tears at him, and he has played God endlessly. He chose who lived and who didn't. I can't understand and have empathy, but I can't understand everything.
Yeah, and let me tell you, guilt that's a huge anchor that pulls a lot of vets to their death.
Yep,
it really is.
And I do apologize for butchering that one. I need
to do a video on that, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yep. Let's see. Moving on here, we got International House of Whoop Ass here with $2. Says make a tiny home community in Texas near the border for strictly for vets, housing issued, and give them a mission to secure that grid square. Then expand over that. They expand over the line that solves problems. One last job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a secure border too.
Yeah.
That would be that would be a secure grid square. Yes.
People would be crying about it, but well,
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them.
All right, let's see. We got Cliff coming back. Pop and Battle Dwarf are going after these veteran suicide prevention groups and asking the same questions as two Bobs from Office Space. What would you say you do here?
Yeah,
I sent something for
Oh,
Billy.
we did two bob it. Oh,
yeah, we did.
We did. Oh, wow.
Didn't even know it.
There you go.
That didn't occur to me, but yeah, that's kind of what we did.
What
would
exactly
you say
do you do here?
You do here.
Nice. Alucard coming in says, Pop, I need a Pringles can full of pig shit, cat shit, maybe some fox shit.
Do not
and an air cannon.
Do not tempt Pop to send you Pringles cans of feces. Do not do that.
You get in big trouble for that today.
Well, just be sure to check your mail so it doesn't seep out over a month and a half, because that's just nasty.
That story is still funny. I've heard it like a dozen times or more, and it's funny every fucking time.
But if Pop says he's going to do something, he's going to fucking do it.
Yeah. Smurf the balls. It's happening.
Smurf all the balls.
The balls.
Let's see. And Alucard coming back. He's asking permission to use the Pringles can filled with pig, cat, fox shit shot out of an air cannon.
Go ahead.
Knock yourself out, man.
Whatever ammo is given to you is, well, use at your own discretion. No questions will be asked. Let's see here. And that guy coming back says, Pop, you get a homeless suspicion point for trying to touch my intangible, you sick bastard.
You might need a homo suspicion point for worrying about having your intangible touched.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Either way, someone's going to get a suspicion point.
You are fined 1 homo suspicion point for violation of the Man Code Morality Statute.
Fair enough.
I don't know who it's going to, but someone's getting points assessed.
There you go.
Yeah, we got K-Note 72 coming in and says, I turned the big old double 3 on Sunday, so drink, you bastards.
33.
Bolshevik.
That was a good year. 33 was actually a pretty good year for me.
We already gave you Beetle Dwarf, so you know what? How about this one?
Got him.
Again, don't blame me. I'm just the evil button pushing monkey. I just push the buttons.
That's what she said.
Yep. Let's see. Tantalum 180 coming in and says, Pop, you are well over 500 strong now. Sound off, Regiment!
Boom.
And Alucard, he's got a request, but don't worry, gentlemen. It's nothing bad. He just wants some box wine and Catland.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop!
All right.
And I just noticed this in that last image there. What do that woman and her cat have in common?
I have no idea.
There's no hair on the pussy.
That's a good one.
That was funny.
Oh, man. Why did it take me so long to figure that out?
I don't know, but it's pretty good.
Let's see here. Alucard, he's got a question. He says, is the Pringles can with shit shot from the air cannon a violation of the Geneva Convention?
Only if you shoot it at a human being directly.
Yeah, I believe that is biological warfare. And
yeah. It is technically biological warfare.
Just wear gloves and conceal your launch pad.
Right.
It's the only advice I can give you.
All right.
Let's see. Raging Sailor here says, Sunday stream pop sent you a Google Drive link so that you can get the movie Greyhound. Also on a personal note, please pray for my father, RCN vet, admitted to the ICU a few hours ago at the age of 72.
All right.
Oh man.
Damn.
Dude.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
man.
brother.
Prayers to you. Prayers to you. We can't do much, but that's what we can. See, Net Guy comes and says, Pop, I will send you some Pringles.
Please don't.
Well, let's hope it's actual Pringles and not just a Pringles can.
I don't need a biohazard being mailed to. Well, first of all, that would probably get me in a lot of trouble.
Oh, the anticipation.
And that reminds me, Pop, when was the last time you checked the PO box?
Yeah,
About 3 weeks ago.
Might be time to check that again, just in case.
All right.
Alrighty, let's see here. Jumping back to the U-boob side, we're still not above 300 likes.
Uh-oh.
We got 301 watching. Just saying.
That like you
saying.
The bastards. All right, we'll jump over here to the MGTOW side of things. We got Dark Mad Dog with a couple here in a row. Says, Battle Dwarf.
What?
I'm doing a robot android doll. I sewed up her fabric body for scale. She's as big as my ex. 5'8" girl with a 5'2" dude. It was great, but she was mental. I do furniture work. I do furniture for my own room that is super bare bones and dolls. My actual specialty. They are life-size fabric dolls that are bangable. I also collect books and reading Aristotle Politics, Plato Republic, Marcus Aurelius Meditations, among others. I'm also working on a video game. Sorry for last time.
Okay, look, I'm down with the Greek authors. I read a lot of that myself, but the fabric bangable life-size dolls thing has me a little creeped out.
He has a his next one is a correction. It says my fabric dolls are not bangable. They lack a skeleton, which I will make for the chassis for the robotics. Also, serious question. You could use fabric dolls with thermal pads for thermal imaging as dummies for enemy fire.
I don't know. Would that work?
Yes.
Yep.
But, you could definitely do that.
Yep. He continues, they did it in World War II with inflatable tanks. Doll with cheap animatronic eyes are less than $200 for decoys and eyes and ears. Wheel tank with tank wheels, forgot the name, for ease of movement.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, you have to remember, I wasn't the shooty guy. I'm not the the pointy guy at the end of the stick. I was the commo guy. I was the dating service.
All right. That's kind of weird, but all right.
Yeah, I arranged for nice men like Pop to have meaningful relationships with assholes downrange.
That didn't sound right.
It didn't sound right either.
Phrasing.
I'm gonna stop before I go down a deep dark hole that nobody wants to go down.
Yep.
Also phrasing.
Also phrasing.
Let's see. MGTOW Ronan coming back says, evening, gents. Yo, Battle Dwarf. We brought up Star Trek last week. This week, Twilight Zone, the obsolete man. The Chancellor, the late Chancellor, was only partly correct. He was obsolete. But so is the state, the entity he worshipped. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete. This case can be filed for M for mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to call out a quick quote over here on Rumble. LB Weaver said, Dwarf said dark hole. He's into Rachel Ziegler. No.
Oh, God.
Hard pass.
It could have been worse. He could have said Lizzo.
That's fair.
Even though she did drop 400 pounds. I mean,
I'm not interested, and I don't want to know what else happened to that crystal flute.
Not nasty.
Moving on.
Carry on.
Ballistic Zero says 234 here. I'm back, bitches.
Raw.
Better get more butts here. You slacking. I'm sorry, man. I don't have a butt button. I wish I did. But Pop, you're authorized to show my tags. Please far from the cam because those have my SSN tags, not DODID tags. Bluff DD214 in hand, still in Fairbanks, willing to come on the show now that I'm a civilian. Was a whistleblower punished, still looking for a job and in the fight.
All right.
Send an email, man. When you
let us know.
Yep, redonkulas12@gmail.com. Oh, yeah, man. Be good to see you on the show there. Good sir. And Moisture Patrol, $10 says, like my father said many times, tall fences make good neighbors. Same with borders.
Yep.
Bad neighbors make good fences. That's a quote from Vlad Tepes.
I actually did see I saw a post on TwitX earlier today. It was I think it was like the Trojans. They said, "Oh, good fences make good neighbors," or something like that. And then it had Vlad the Impaler. Shout out to Mando. I can't remember what the quote was, but I reposted it and I said #fancy lawn art.
Yeah.
Bad fences or bad neighbors make good fences.
There you go. That's the quote.
Yeah.
Yep. Reposted it and said #fancy lawn art. Anyway, let's see. We got over here back on YouTube, we got Lantger Man with $10. He's dropping a dancing pear that says #1 fan.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. Thank you. All righty. Let's see here.
Too honorable.
Let's see. I'm going to jump over here to the Odyssey side. We got Hi Jackal. Pure fucking sock. Good to hear from you, Jackal. Says, hey, Porter John prank Peria. You're using too many words with syllables, man. Periatorians got a brief update on a field fart nuke story that is in production right now. Pop will be angry with this one because it's so retarded. See what I did there? Let's see. My brain hurts. Too much butt cheekage swimming in it, and the bootery is just getting started. Got your Warrior's Way book, Pop.
Oh, give it a good review on Amazon, please.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And he says the update is in the Redonky Dick email. We'll get to those momentarily right after the Cash Apps there. Sorry. Let's see. Looks like no new lemons over on D-Live. And again, we still got our normal. Oh, nope. We got 9 over here on the Twitch side. And on the TwitX, 126 views.
Wow, we're going up on TwitX.
Wow. Yeah, that's a 25% increase there.
Let's see here.
All right.
I like it.
Oh, looks like there's another email there. I'm not going to read it there, but it's from Liberty War. Got that starred there for you, Pop.
All right.
Where's Jackal's story at? All right, here we go. Latest fart nuke update. I've gotten a collection of day-to-day tales of irrational, succulent sexcapades, errant emotional exploitations, inwardly irresponsible decisions, flesh mecha-born wake-up calls, and borderline word-ending asruptions.
All right.
This year has been a halo jump of a time for our boy Steven. From meeting a fat-ass Latina at the gym to getting quadruple teamed in the butthole hell. Now, after nearly 13 months of trying not to drown in the ass ocean he jumped into, he faces a new set of irrefutable cunt sequences. The man has been dumping contents like a grocery bag full of holes. In desperate need of Sergeant Pop's knife hand ass chewings, he has been chewing and spewing into too many pairs of thunder cheeks, lost in the ever-steaming, stinking Sahara ass desert and its numerous marriages until he desires until his desires would push him beyond his flesh mech's limit. An overused organ of his is now screaming for mercy from the onslaught of cheekage and whole lambasting, and a curse that may last for a duration of 18 to 21 years hangs above his weary and ass-smelling head. He has accepted the reality of his great weakness, but will pull out before it's too late, or will his bitch session become his downfall? The sequel to this situation, which will definitely require a whole episode to cover due to its length, is being written now. For now, I have a BS report to produce and cringe ass-filled games to prepare for the upcoming cringe gameplay series that will be streamed on my channel. Jack, all right. Out. And he has he finishes it with an anagram for erection. Egregious rectal eruptions causing traumatic internal overexerted nuts.
That was like as if Clive Barker had rewritten Hellraiser for Redonkulas.
Oh, cheers to you, Jackal, man.
Such asses to show you.
Cheers to you, Jackal, there. All right, we'll jump into the cash apps here. We got Susan McCarley throwing her $30, says, craving a hot platter of Dave's crayons.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while since we've seen Dave's crayons. Dave, come back.
That was a lot of innuendo.
All of it.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Dave, and I want to talk to you about something real special. My naturally grown crayons. Yep, you heard that right, folks. Crayons grown right here in the good old earth. I know what you're thinking. Dave, how do crayons grow? Well, let me tell you. It's all natural, all organic. No chemicals, no artificial colors, just good old dirt, sunshine, and love. Here's where the magic happens. We harvest them with care, sort them by color. Ain't no rush here, no sir. And then we clean them up, polish them till they shine, ready for you to use them or, eat them. Now that's a crayon. You can feel the earth in every bite. There's just something about a crayon that's grown right, Tastes like childhood. Now, we did try to make a mascot for the crayons, but, well, let's just say old Cranky, the crayon, didn't quite turn out the way we planned. So, whether you're coloring, crafting, or just having a snack, Dave's naturally grown crayons are the real deal. Once you try them, you'll know what I mean. You'll be wondering how you ever lived without them. Try them today and taste the difference.
I love it.
That's a great one.
That's a great one.
That's really a good one.
Outstanding.
Too funny. Let's see. HKC sent in $5 saying, for your choice and a straw. Well, no one is within straw throwing distance, but how about a dog walker video?
Oh. That never gets old, man. It never gets old.
There you go. I know someone was actually out there craving the dog walker there.
Oh.
Let's see. We got Lunar Lucidity 333 sending $20 there. Thank you, good sir. Thank you. Let's see. And we got Bear Claw throwing $20. Says NGOs are mostly staffed by the problem. Feminists.
Yep.
AKA communists with tits.
Yep. As soon as those organizations get anything that looks remotely like an HR department, they're done.
Yep. You're fooked.
Holy smoking Joe Frazier. If memory serves me right, this will be the biggest donation to Redonkulas ever. From Dead Coyote.
All right.
$561.
Holy shit. Thank you so much, man.
About the numbers, they matter.
Shit.
Thanks for what you do. 07. Good sir. Holy fuck. You deserve
ass balls.
You deserve one of these and also a We're Not Worthy.
Let's go.
Holy smoking Joe Frazier.
Thank you so much, man.
We're not worthy. We're
Wow. Thanks, man.
We need the money.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good God. Dead Coyote. Thank you. Good. Thank you so much for that kindness, good sir. Thank you so much.
We promise to do nothing but mischief with that money.
Absolutely. We solemnly swear we are up to no good.
Exactly.
Let's see. And from $10 from Lynn, you may not be noble, but your purpose is.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are what we are.
Okay, looks like just got there. Okay, there's the email for Battledorf starred. I do have another one there from Liberty War there. I have that starred for you as well there, Pops, as reading my story.
Liberty Bibbity.
Yep.
Bibbity Bibbity. All righty, let me jump back through the chats. Looks like nothing else over there on
Rumble, too.
Side. Rumble, I know they sneaky bastards.
They snuck them in there.
They sneak it in there, man.
Kind of like a penis in your girlfriend.
Whoa!
Not that I would know anything about that or not.
I'm just fucking with you, man.
Let's see here. Let me scroll down here. It says, Alley Card 1776 comes in, says, are the feds watching us? If so, hi, Jebediah.
I hope they are, because Special Agents frickin' Frack would probably be crying by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
probably.
back to your energy drinks and misery.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Let's see. And Lecoq coming back says, once a hoe, always a hoe.
Yep.
That's a true statement.
You can't turn one garden tool into another. I'm just saying. And Alucard coming back says, are there symptoms of being an evil genius, or is it a blessing of Loki?
Well, typically, if you have a child that is doing a lot of crazy shit that is not congruent with their age category, you probably have an evil genius on your hands.
Like making bazookas and firing them at KFC signs.
Yes.
Or making a clay ball laced with a firecracker.
It was an M3000. Of a stick of a dynamite.
Dude, there's going to be like 5 Berkeley cops that come out of retirement just to come get you for that right now.
It's all right.
Son of a bitch, I knew it was you.
Hey, you old fucker.
I organized like half the block to shoot down a guy's remote control glider once with wrist rockets. That was awesome.
Wow.
There you go.
I was an asshole. What do you want from me?
Yeah, it's better to be an asshole than a whole ass.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Let's see. Net guy coming back says, Alucard, it's in a Pringles can.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And GR45 Devereux comes back, says, Jody.
Jody calls her bad. Just so you know.
Yeah. Actually, I did a video on Jody Ops. It should be out here shortly.
Oh, you did a recent video on Jody Ops?
The whiteboard.
Okay.
I even put the OMO soapbox thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Brits told us about that.
Yeah.
Brits told us about that. Okay.
There you go. All righty. Let me do one more quick scan through the chats here. Nothing on YouTube. Rumble is all caught up there. Nothing else on TV.
False. Alucard 1776 drops in and says, read it, Jimmy.
Singing pop.
It's just creepy how well my face fits on that thing.
You thought you were going to get away tonight without
Yeah,
that.
I thought I'd get away clean.
Nope, it's someone else. Someone's always got to be out there to ask for a singing pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are jackasses. Ask for new videos. Let's see. Nothing else over on the Odyssey side. D-Live, I'm sure no one else is giving some lemons over there. Nope. All good. Twitch is all caught up, and we got 131 views over on the Twinstagram.
Wow. It's going up. All right.
Wow.
And again, to those guys that sent in emails for Pop to read, I have those starred. They are in the email. I haven't read them because they're not for my eyes. Those are for Pop's eyes only. So that, expect an email from Pop within next couple days and whatnot. So,
all right.
But on that note, Pop, we're ready for safety briefing.
All right, everybody. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and swim. It's not going to work out for you. If you must fornicate, wear a condom. Take it with you. Flush it down the toilet. Watch it go all the way down because women are sneaky bitches and child support does last 18 to 21 years. Rack up, pack up, and stack up. There's safety in numbers, and if you're going to be attacked, something in your environment will have changed, and it's up to you to see it. Last but not least, I'm sick and tired of throwing you guys into the dirt because you're taking a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Play the long game. You have no idea what tomorrow holds for you. Stay in the fight, and if all else fails, live at a motherfucking spite. Boom, beer me. There we go.
Battle Dwarf, anything that you have to say before you go dark?
Just want to recap what we went over tonight and restate that the organizations that we mentioned, we mean ill will. We just look at everything. We're old veterans. I'm an old intelligence analyst. It's what I'm trained to do. There are a couple of improvements that everybody can make here and there. And I hope if you see this, you take some of it to heart, because we've been doing this for a while and we have a pretty good idea what we're talking about.
There you go.
Well said. Well said.
And of course, everybody knows my
swag.
Swag. Jump on over, get yourself a shirt. Anything that your little heart desires, your cold black dead heart desires, it's on the swag. Get you a shirt. Live out of spite. Stay in the fight. Strike that, reverse it. There you go. Of course, good ideas don't need censorship. All that good stuff. Get you a Battle Dwarf shirt.
All right.
Wait, maybe even a Battle Dwarf shirt?
There is a Battle Dwarf shirt.
Didn't know that.
There's a Battle Dwarf shirt. There's a Dave's Crayons shirt.
I like Dave's Crayons shirt. I might get a Dave's Crayons shirt.
There you go. And of course, if you and your buddies are going to go out, so everybody needs a partying guardian. So
the partying guardian shirt. That was a real thing, though, in the military. We would designate a guy.
Yep.
Draw straws. Whoever pulls the short straw, you're staying sober, fucker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Similar. There were varying versions of it, but yeah, that was a very real thing.
Yep. And again, my other final thought, again, keep the gunpowder dry and the cootie juices off your dishes, because you don't know where it's been. You don't know who's been in there. And, well, you don't want secondhand cottage cheese because that's just nasty.
Mama said, don't put that in your mouth.
That's nasty.
Take it easy, everybody.
Take it easy.